Alright, since I'm going to be taking the engine out of this, putting a new one in, I'm going to disable the fuel pump and let it run out of gas to make sure the fuel rail is empty. Alright, I think we got that. Died a slower death than I thought it was going to. I'm going to take this battery out of here since I'm going to be pulling the engine and I'm working on the transmission. This battery needs to be disconnected. I'm just going to take the whole thing out of here. There's no sense in leaving it in here, possibly dropping a tool on it. Probably time for a new battery soon. This one's about 3 years old. That's about how much I use batteries. Something out. Now we're going to take this gear shift off. This one off first. This one. 10 millimeter. Initially, I was going to leave this thing in 5th gear so it was straight through, so I could turn the output shaft to change the phase of the input shaft if I needed to when I was coming back together. I started thinking about it some more, and I don't know if I want to do that. It seemed like it might be hard to put this gear shift selector back on. If it's something other than neutral. So I'm going to give it a shot like that. If I need to, I'll try to rotate the flywheel. But I'm going to try to align the teeth on the approach. See how that goes. There's a wire harness going across. Same length, 10 millimeters. Take off this cover plate. We have the boot. can tell I'm getting close because I can smell the gear oil. Tie wrap on there. It looks like somebody's been in here. It looks like I can. Okay, just pull this. This is just an outer, sort of a gross boot that covers around inside the other one. Remember, I'm trying to do a good job for you here, but I'm not a video producer, so I don't always think in terms of camera angles. I don't think this has ever been off before. I think that when I took this to the shop, they had this thing up so high on the lift that they could just drop this thing down and leave this like this and drop it straight down. So these are 6 bolts here, 12 millimeter. After I took those 2 boots off there. This reminds me of something that I forgot to do. I'm going to do right now before I go any further, after I pull this thing off of here. I want to drop the gear oil out of this transmission. So when I'm leaning it back or what have you to access those top 4 bolts that everybody always tells you about, I'm not dumping gear oil out of the output shaft seal. Since there won't be anything in there, the output shaft will be gone on the yoke. We're going to go away with the yoke from the, there we go. That's it. I'm going to get this out of here. Memory serves me from doing these catalytic converters before. There's one, it's easier to get from the top before you lift the thing up. I got 2 9-inch extensions with a swivel and a 15 millimeter on the end. Alright, surprised I had to take that all the way up to the max. Get that one off there. Alright, now this is one of the tools that I picked up to try and make this job easier on myself. This is a quick jack from Bend Pack. Model is 7000 TL. It's 7,000 pound weight handling. And I have the truck slash SUV extender biscuits on there to get a little bit more clearance and to get the lift jack apparatus away from the cross member that I'm trying to drop down. I'm going to take this up slowly and keep an eye around. It does have a scissor effect to it, so it does make the vehicle go forward slightly as it's going up. So I started it off a little bit further back than where I want to be and eventually at the end. And then I just keep an eye on it. If it looks like it's going to hit something, then I'm going to back off, come back down, and try again. Here we go. This thing has 2 locks on it, one at about halfway and one that all the way. It just got on the first lock. I'm going to go a little bit further. I have to take one of these blocks out. So this thing has spacers that you can take out. I'm going to take out this one that's worth about 3 inches. The spread between the lifting blocks is just right at on the shore fed frontier. It's just right there. Do the best job I can making sure this is right because my body is going to be underneath this thing. You don't want anything bad happening. Okay, here's the second block. Okay, now when I lower it back down, it's going to be resting on the block. So now I've released the hydraulic pressure. There's no hydraulic pressure in the lines now. This is good or better than jack stands, I'm thinking. Certainly more expensive than jack stands. All right, I cut that last video off because I got under there and took a look, and I was not satisfied with the clearance between the frame and this jack frame for me to drop this subframe out that's holding up the back of the transmission. I think I have enough clearance now. I had to put that 3-inch back in, and I took the garage door opener apart to get clearance up there. All I needed was 2 or 3 inches. So I am on the mechanical stops now. So the hydraulic pressure is off. I am not relying on the hydraulic pressure to hold me up. I'm going to put a couple cinder blocks underneath this thing. I know that's old school. I'm going to try and put them in under the frame and under the differential in the back. Maybe that'll give me 1 or 2 seconds to get out if something starts going wrong before I meet my demise. I'm going to shake this a little bit again. Feels pretty good. It's at least as good as jack stands. And hopefully a little bit better. Hopefully I got a little bit better clearance. The first thing I wanted to do, this doesn't call for this in the manual, but I want to drop the gear oil on this thing. Just mostly gonna get most of this out of here so that as I'm manipulating this thing, I don't dump gear oil all over my face. put a new washer on that at the end. Now this side. You can probably do this job without taking these out, but I'm going to be doing so much work in here with taking this motor out of here. All right, now next I'm going to get these oxygen sensors out of here. I don't want to get them bunged up, if you get my drift. Even though I put the special anti-seize on there, these things are still always a pleasure. 215K, I've gone through a couple sets of oxygen sensors. Take the crank position sensor out. And I'll do that. I think that one is 10 millimeter. Hopefully I've got a good angle on this. Crankshaft position sensor. Trying to refresh my memory how I got to these bolts raised and heat shield. Not quite. Most. I remember this one. Last time I did this, I didn't have the ratcheting box end wrenched, and it took me about a half a day to do this one bolt, this one nut. 14 millimeter ratcheting box end. Goes right on there, tight spot. You're all set. You put your finger in here. I was pulling it with my finger like this, holding it on there with my other finger, with my other hand, pulling it like this. So we're all set. Let's see if this one's easy. Otherwise, I'll hit it with the tool. I'm going to have to hit that one with the tool. 14. Okay. Let's get these off. And before we go much further, get this rear oxygen sensor off here too. Back to this, 17. And this is my own hardware that I put on here. This is not stock. This aftermarket caps have different flanges. Now I'm not This is a Remcom exhaust gasket. It's made out of graphite. It's somewhat squishy. It's good for these aftermarket cats that have poor fitment, wrong geometry, and the flanges don't line up and they're out of plane and all. I've had all kinds of problems with that, and I feel like I've solved them with these things. They're soft enough, but they're also, they can take the heat because it's made out of graphite. Okay. Now I'm over on the left. I took the connector, the electrical connector loose already on this extreme oxygen sensor. I'm going to take it out again so it doesn't get involved in any. Let's leave that one on there. I'll work on that when it's outside. Spray it. I'm going to do something like cut these heat shields in half so that I can take them out when I'm working on this thing without having to pull the engine. This design is total. All right, that's one. This one over here. one got cross-threaded at the last shop that I took it to, I think. So I'm going to end up breaking this one off from it. It's coming out crooked. Yeah, broke it off. I know I can press that stud out of there, but I don't know if I could get another one that'll fit that size. All right, so I got 14 deep. Same thing over here. I go up. I'll put the swivel in the middle. Definitely on there. Let's see. On this. Make sure it's on loosen. Yes. That could be another mess right there. Okay. Feels like it's on there all the way. All right. Got that one. Okay. So 2 came off and correctly. 1 came off with the half of the bolt. That's how it goes. When you take stuff to the shop, that's why we're doing this. So that we might not have to take it to the shop next time. And if you were watching closely, you may have noticed that I was already missing a nut on this one. Sometimes these things, it's hard to find flange head hardware that will stay put. I'll just leave that one there for now. I didn't have my Wheaties. That one out. That very well may be, I say this now, you'll let me know later, that very well may be the hardest part of this job. So this is a aftermarket drive shaft. It looks a little bit different from the stock. It has a grease zerk on the on the CV joint in the center so that I can lubricate that. I mark the yoke on the pinion and the yoke on the tail of the drive shaft so I can get this back in the same orientation. There's 4 different ways. This one had the best run out, the lowest run out. 17. Alright, now I am going to have to go let off the parking brake so I can spin this thing. Okay. Seventeen. Reverse. Reverse. This last one, I'm going to break it loose and leave it on there until I'm ready for this thing to fall on my head. I got to pull this thing off here, lift it up over the center support, and then pull it out of the back of the transmission. And then set it down gently. Here we go. Pull this forward a little bit. Okay. Put a rag on this. Alright, now we're going to take the starter off. There's a plate here. I think this is a heat shield. The heat shield from the exhaust keeps sliding down onto me here, trying to slice me. I don't need to take that thing off any further. I can get that one from the other side. And the starter. And the clutch Slade cylinder. That should be pretty straightforward. Just need to take that and move that out of the way. See if it's 17. Yes. Okay. just in case I forget, and remind myself on these two screws associated with the starter. The longer one with the white paint on it came from the back, and the shorter one came from the front. Just in case that comes up later. Clutch slave cylinder has the two 17mm bolts with the 7 on them, and actually the starter has the 17mm with 7 too, but these are shorter with a washer on them for the slave cylinder. All right, I'm going to take the bottom 2 bolts that hold the transmission onto the motor block, because I feel like they might be inaccessible once I put my transmission jack on this thing. Those are the easy 2. Now this transmission jack is from Harbor Freight. I did not get this one because I like being tough. I did not get this one because I needed a 2,000 pound capacity. I got this one because I needed 30-inch lift. And that's another thing too. I'm going to measure this frame, and I'm going to measure the back of the transmission so that I can tell when it's level before I pull it back. Back here on the connector, this is one is the neutral, one's the reverse. And I cannot figure out how. All right. This jack is a little bit too big for this transmission. It's supposed to tighten these things, but I'm not really sure if I need to do that. Because they're not really touching anything. I don't think they're going to really do anything, but I do need to put a strap around it. And the feedback on Harbor Freight about this one is don't use the chain, just use a strap. I don't think I can do that yet because the instructions say there is a breather tube above this thing. I'm still tied to the engine, so it's not going to start swinging around or anything, but I'm going to start taking the cross member off. Okay, that's that. This thing feels very tight. I think I need to, when I pull these out, I think I'm going to need to hit this with a mallet or something to get this to come out. It looks like somebody was beating on it at some point too. I think I can guess who. Put my legs up under here. I got these bolts out here. Nothing is hanging. I should be able to drop this down. Uh-oh. can't get enough. I can't get enough swing on this hammer to get anything. Now. Almost. Maybe I'll just do all from the side. It's fine. Go down to the floor. Okay. Need two more. Well, I can tell you what, when I get this thing out of here, I'm going to sand it down very nicely. One side down, like I said, it's nice support over there. This thing should be tough enough for that, didn't bend it up. Hopefully. Otherwise, I'll be ordering one of those ones. But I think, yeah, there's a bit of rust in there from where those surfaces were scraping against each other, and that needs to be cleaned up. And then I think I will be okay. I think it'll be easier to put in, maybe not easy, but easier. I don't know. I don't have the experience. I don't know if that's how that's supposed to be, or if that's something that my clown did at the last shop that I took this to have the clutch done. So, okay, so now the transmission is on the jack solely, and That's that. Okay. So now, has the hard part of the transmission, and that is getting those top 4 bolts that you can't even see from here. I see them. I see the two at 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock, and the two at the very top. You just have to lean this thing down to get it. That's what it says. It says lean it down in the manual. It says lean it down to get the air tube, the breather tube on the top, and to disconnect the wiring harnesses from it. But I think that it needs to be leaned down to reach those top 4 bolts too. That's what everybody says. Those top 4 bolts are the. I am about to find out whether I have enough extension. I got 9 times 3. That's a deep well. It seems like I can reach those ones on the side from back here. It sort of implies that I could get the ones from the top if I can get the right angle. This may be why they tell you to remove the front cross member, because it's about an inch and a half away. I think I'll probably get it. There's this breather tube. Okay, I feel a breather tube there. Do I disconnect it at the back or at the front? Okay. See that one over there? There they are, the top there. And there's one at about 10 o'clock. And there's one at about 2 o'clock. All I got to do is hold this tool tight enough against there so I don't strip off. Make sure I'm in reverse. Here we go. Okay. The guy put that in nice and tight. That's for sure. Thank you. There we go. Got my face right in the output shaft, sucking on the 85, 95. I guess it's 75 W85. All right, I'm on the one at 1 o'clock. Hold what you got. Make sure it's in reverse. Yes. There we go. Number two. Those are the two hardest ones everybody always talks about. Reverse. I would not be able to do this job without this tool. This impact wrench is the one. Reverse. Got it. That's the four hard ones. Now I'm clear on the top of this thing, and I can put the strap on it and lift it back up. Now I've left the two bolts on each side at 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock. And remember, I got my 32 1/4. All right, so I put a strap around the top of this just to stabilize it in case I don't have it exactly centered. And I don't, I'm sure. I got all my stuff out of there, all my wiring harness. So I'm going to come across like this and catch this hook right here to hold it. All right. So I got right now I'm going to put this strap underneath here. I feel I'm going to grab this thing 4 more bolts, get it level, and slide it off there. I'm almost there. Alright, I got that nice and snug on there. This will just dangle down. This wiring harness stuff is just going to stay there when I pull away from this thing. Let's check the height on my 32 1/4. Just about. Let's do it one more pump. Okay. Well, two and a quarter. 32 1/4. That's about it right there. All right, four more bolts. And I don't think I need a swivel on these. Reverse. Put these in a separate place for the 4 that were in the middle, so I can keep track of how they feel. One there. Reverse. This one, believe it or not, this one's going to need the swivel back on the middle. On, reverse. All right, one more. One, reverse. That's it. The little plate on the back of this. Okay. So this is some kind of inspection plate that lets me look at the teeth on the flywheel. I should be able to come back now. All right, I'm clear now. And I can come down. All right, so we're taking this pressure plate off, and I don't want to use an impact tool on this. I don't know what the protocol is on impact when something that's connected to the crankshaft and jackhammering on the bearings and stuff. It's probably not a good idea. I'm going to use a rubber mallet on this to just get these started, break the torque. This is a aftermarket clutch kit that I got here from Australia. This is not the stock. Anyway, this clutch kit is from Australia. I'm very happy with it. I ordered a new one. Freshen this up. Still got plenty of light to it. I have about probably about 70 to 75,000 on this one. Still got plenty of light, but it's on in here. Taking this motor off, it doesn't make any sense not to put a new clutch kit on in here and get the flywheel turn. This is a solid flywheel on this one. They say it can be turned up to 5 times, or so 3 or 5 times, so it should be all set. This is the first time it would be on this one. And that's why I'm a little long on this time. Get this thing off here so that I can get to the machine shop tomorrow and give myself a chance. This weekend, I know it's a long shot taking the whole motor out and replacing it. I can put the transmission back on this weekend. It's Thursday night right now, and we'll see. I say to hell with the naysayers. One in each section. It's ready. The tension of this pressure plate on this disc. I can feel it backing off of the valve pins. As you can see, with these quick jack lifts, I can sit under here comfortably to work on this, even though it's not a real lift, and I can't stand up and all that stuff, but I can sit. And that works a lot for me right now. All right, let's get this block down in there. I'm almost off. I'm going to turn these by hand now and support this pressure plate. This is my last one here. Here we go. Oh, that's heavy. Okay. Look at that clutch disc. I don't know if you can see that. It's still got tons left on it. And the surface looks great. And on a stock flywheel, these would be Torx. This aftermarket one, they're Hex. Same thing. I'm gonna try to pop these with this. So you really crank these on. I'm getting rid of this engine anyway. So if I jackhammer the main bearings with a impact wrench, start it off low. Be nice and see what happens. Nope. 2. Okay. Looks like I can do it with 2. Not on that one though. 3. Alright, this last one, I'm going to hold this thing. And then I'm going to pull it off, noting the orientation. Very excited. First time I ever took a transmission off of a vehicle by myself. This thing is very heavy. This is massive, and this is a higher torque setup. It's got a very tight bite on the pressure plate, and it's got a very heavy, solid flywheel. So, see that? You can see how thick that is. You can see there's a dimple right there in between two of the holes. There's a little protrusion that sticks out right here on that. And here's the timing pulses for the crankshaft position sensor. So I'm good for the night. I'm gonna clean this thing up a little bit, get it to the machine shop in the morning.